Tally-ho, Panzer people, and welcome to an early look at global conflagration, which is a word that doesn't sound like it's real, but I assure you it is. So the demo for this just popped up on Steam, and it kinda looks like an old school RTS, like the old Command & Conquer games. In particular, Command & Conquer Generals. So let's see if it's any good. Now to begin with, we only have the skirmish mode, but we have all the way up to 8-player maps, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to start off with the basic map, 1v1, and I'm going to show you how this game is played. So we got 3 factions, like you did in Generals, and it's the EDU, Carpathia, and Vanguard PMC. Or in layman's terms, Europe, Russia, and a sort of partisan faction based on Eastern Europe. So let's go against them. Now you can also choose the color scheme. So we're gonna go with mountain spots for them. I've got my own. We're gonna talk about that a little later. And I'm gonna set my color. And away we go. Super duper fast loading times, and we already have our build up. So we're gonna start some barracks over there, and we're gonna start capturing things. So you may notice these flags all over the place. If you've ever played Company of Heroes, this is actually what you're looking at. It's very much that. So we've got our Jaegers, these are our basic sort of infantry squad. And we've got our little UGV here, which is an unmanned ground vehicle. And you may notice these units are kind of based on real life. So these Jaegers are, of course, the German infantry, although not in the Bundeswehr colors. And we are going to just capture all of these points over here. Now, of course, we want to consolidate those points. We're going to build ourselves a Pioneer, or 2, which you're going to see in just a second here. Alright, we've got enemies already on the horizon. So let's go and fight them. We can also entrench our troops. It costs a little bit of resources, like here. So there's materials that we're going to need. So we're going to consolidate our position here and entrench. So entrenching is kind of cool because it gives us not just the troops in cover, but they get equipped with a recoilless rifle right there. So that gives them some firepower against vehicles. Alright, we're going to just capture all of these points. Now our Pioneer is up. So this is sort of a logistics vehicle, and what you can do with that is you can place it over here, and that's going to unpack into a sort of outpost. We're going to do it over here too. Gonna have to kind of move a little fast, just because it is a, well, traditional RTS, which is all about sort of momentum. Alright, and then we can increase the material capacity on that. You can also upgrade them with some defenses. Speaking of defenses, we're going to put one down here to protect our outposts, and that is going to get us the resources that we need to build things. Now, of course, we are going to run out of power, so we're going to load up a little power plant over there. Should have done that at the beginning, now I think about it. The Jaegers have a special ability, is that they can actually deploy medikits. So when they get injured like this, deploy a medkit and they will heal, which is really cool. Now all of the points have been captured, so you can see the front line is moving forward, which is really, really cool. It's kind of a tug-of-war match. It's one of the coolest things about this. I've not seen that many games do that, but it's really, really cool. Alright, we're going to deploy here. We're going to need some recoilless rifles. Oh, you're going to need that medkit. Alright, we're going to deploy you as well. So that's giving us a nice defensive line forward. But of course, we could always use more firepower, and what is an RTS game without tanks? So first, we're going to need a mechanics center. Alright, I'm going to unentrench these guys over here, and we're going to just relocate them to the next point up here. Now, there is another flag here that we can capture. I don't even know what you call this. It looks like a... well, to be honest, it looks like a mobile cell tower, which is probably what it is. So thankfully, I have another Pioneer over here, so we're going to send you over here and get that captured. Alright, so in the old games, you used to always have these airfields, which were a little bit comical. I mean, you wouldn't have an airfield so close to the front. So what you have instead is a forward control tower. And so we're going to build one of those, and then we'll be able to call in some aircraft. Let's go deploy that outpost. We're gonna go capture that checkpoint over there. And we're probably going to need another Pioneer for that one down there too. But Pioneers have another thing that they can do. So I'm just going to move one up here. We're going to train one more because we're probably going to need it. And we're going to get another power plant as well. And we're going to deploy this into a construction crane. Now what that does is a couple of very useful things. So firstly, I'm going to deploy a factory. Now you notice that the area in green is actually bigger because this crane is here. So we can deploy things closer to the front. But also, we can deploy turrets closer to the front, which is kind of cool. Alright, let's get this outpost set up over here. We're just going to have to unentrench our guys for a moment. In fact, this could work out quite nicely for us. And deploy you again. And now they got more firepower because we're basically inside their base. Now, this is a very, very easy enemy, of course. But it's a good idea to get a lay of the land. Now, you can get fighters, which are good for countering other planes. That's not going to help us all that much. Kind of regretting building that, honestly. But it wouldn't be me if there wasn't some form of mistake. We do have helipads though, so helipads are going to be useful. Alright, we can just go and assault the enemy right now. Deploy them. Now we have our tank factory. We can get some artillery out of that. Not exactly what I was looking for, but we can get a couple of these vehicles here. Alright, and let's build our first air unit. Now you can of course get helicopter gunships, but what I'm getting instead is kind of a weird one. And when I saw this, I got kind of excited for this game, more than I already did. So this is actually an aerial drone. And I was kind of excited for this for one reason. It has a special ability, and we can use it now. So it can drop a loitering drone. Now it's kind of stealth because, well, it's a hidden unit, and it will hover around that area, and then we'll got a little cooldown of 40 seconds. It's completely free to use, it just has a cooldown. Ah, we did get it lost. Oh, they spotted it. That's slightly annoying. Alright, well, we got our vehicles, let's use them. Yeah, you don't like it when somebody shoots back, do you? Alright, let's get that artillery in the place. Stop chasing them now. Now, these, of course, are M109s. They don't really need any introduction. That's pretty much what they're based on. Ah, the front line has moved back a little bit because they've recaptured. But we can shell them from afar with our Highlanders. Let's do that. Alright, there is something else that we can get, which is really cool. And it's this. We have these little paradrops that we can do, which will drop in the SAS. They're kind of a weird troop. They have javelins and they have snipers. So, very, very interesting infantry. But also, we have this. What you're looking at there is, well, a fictional C-290, which is a cargo plane, but it's been fitted with a couple of modifications. Namely, a massive gun. And yes, it targets things on the ground. It's not particularly great at destroying buildings, but it does very nicely against vehicles. So just like in C&C Generals 0 Hour, you had the Spectre gunship, this is effectively that, just European. So obviously a very simple match there, but you may have noticed the camouflage I was using was a little interesting, and that's because it's custom. This game has a camo editor, so by default, your European vehicles should look like this. Now you only have the EDU vehicles as previews. I'm not sure if that's going to change later on, but this is what they should look like. And it's kind of cool. Nice blue and gold color schemes, very interesting. And then of course you've got a very Russian-inspired Volga reed right here. But what I was using was something I call Giraffe Arid, which is this. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working with here. Now you can change, of course, patterns. You can make it a brickwork pattern. There's all sorts of different patterns, and I'm pretty sure you can make custom patterns later on. That will probably be a thing. And then you end up with something that looks like this, and you can preview it on all of the other vehicles. Now, something we didn't get far enough into the game yet to try is this, the Jaguar, which is pretty much a Leopard too. So, of course, given that this game has a fair few tanks and vehicles, I think it's time for a video game tank review. Starting, of course, with the appropriately named Kahu. This seems to be based on either the Piranha or the Boxer. Seems to be fitted with the more modern modular turrets we see coming out of Europe these days, particularly some of the designs by Rheinmetall. Now, of course, in this configuration, it's a little bit exaggerated as far as the proportions go, but it very much looks like something in the real world. Couple that with a venerable favorite, the Highlander. It's kind of a mishmash of an M109 Paladin combined with parts of what look to be the Panzerhaubitze 2000. The Wraith is a stealth tank based on the PL-01, a Polish experimental tank design. Not sure if it's ever really going to go anywhere, but as far as tank designs go, a stealth one seems to be a bit of an oxymoron. And of course, one you may have seen in the news fairly recently or throughout the last 3 or 4 years, the HIMARS, a high mobility mobile rocket launcher system. And there's not much to say about it because it is pretty accurate to the real thing, except for the cab being bigger than the launcher. Not sure why they've decided to do that since the launcher is actually massive in real life. And then finally the Jaguar, the love child of a Leopard 2A8 combined with a copious amount of Leopard 2PL. It's a modular armor system that's in the real world, but it's been made very, very round and cutesy. The sight system is way too far forward, the back of the turret is absolutely massive, but you know what, if you're gonna make a Leopard, why not make it gigantic? Overall, all the vehicles in Global Conflagration are not that far off from the real thing, although their proportions are exaggerated because yes, it's a strategy game. But they haven't gone out of their way to make them look sci-fi, super futuristic, and then spoil their proportions, so they're easily recognizable and they are very much true to the real thing. Overall, 8 out of 10. Alright, here we are on a rainy map, and we're playing as a Vanguard PMC. This is a Russian-themed, or rather, sort of post-Soviet themed kind of faction. But of course they're supposed to be a PMC, so I'm not sure what the story is here. But you can see the Spetsnaz here, which are explicitly stated to be from the Russian Federation. So I guess it's a PMC that's overseen by Russia. It's very interesting. I want to know what the story behind all of this actually is. Alright, let's send the scout out to go and capture. We've got our pioneers as well. They're not very good frontline combat soldiers, but they can deploy mines, which will be really irritating for anybody trying to capture your points. They do, of course, cost quite a lot of material to use, so I doubt you'll be spamming them anytime soon. But what I find really interesting is their expansion unit, because you can very aggressively expand with this faction. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So we've got our 4 assault engineers here. Well, sappers anyway, I mean it's the same thing. And while that's happening, we're also going to build a power plant. So let's go and pick up all of these troops. Okay, we can only pick up 1 at a time. Kind of figures. So what we can do with this is we can go all the way forward here. Now it does look like they're unmanned units trying to capture that, so we'll just go and chase them away. And while that's happening, we can drop the troop off and they can go and entrench themselves. And then what happens now is we set that to do that. It's going to go and pick up a container from the yard here. We can actually send it in with the container, but it wasn't doing it there for some reason. But when it does that, it automatically deploys it over there. Instead of having a vehicle drive it, it's an aircraft, which actually makes it harder for you to kind of do anything about that early on. Very weird faction, honestly. Alright, this scout unit's kind of annoying me now. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do, but it's very annoying. In fact, I'm actually going to put 1 unit down here. Put the mines down. We're going to go and deploy. And that will give them a heavy machine gun. So they're all subtly different, all of these units. Alright, our outpost is set up. We're going to send them to go and pick up another container because I have spotted something else we want. I'm just going to get these troops to run over now. The AI is quite smart. They do know how to withdraw their troops to sort of prevent them from being captured or killed, more appropriately, I guess. Alright, we have our storage facility. Now, this is sort of a, I guess, a poke at, well, Russia, I guess. But the storage facility says it requires old but reliable units, and then included here is a T-90. I just think it's really interesting, but I don't want the T-90s for now. What I do want are Vistrals. Right, I need to defend the base real quick against what appears to be a Fennec armored car. Alright, so this is the Vistral. It's a sort of, I don't know, armored car. And what you can do with this is you can put units inside, but then it changes its weapon based on what's inside. So this is something that you could do in Command & Conquer Generals with some of their units. And in Red Alert 2 as well, there was a vehicle that let you change what the weapon was. I don't think the regular infantry are going to change anything here. I think they can just shoot out from the firing ports. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Alright, pick up a container, and we're going to go and drop that off over here real quick. I'm going to actually put some mines out here in the field. And then entrench. Yeah, because that heavy machine gun does a lot of damage to light vehicles. Alright, we got the sappers. Let's put some mines down. Alright, let's attack them. We'll just sort of kite them back. They destroyed our outpost, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll just entrench those guys and let them use the machine gun. Alright, now would be a good time to get some tanks. This is one of the few factions that can actually get tanks very early on. So I think is a very neat difference. If you want a tank rush, this is your faction. Alright, we should probably pull back. Now this ring around the factory is a repair ring. So you can actually bring your vehicles back here for some free repairs. Alright, I'm gonna actually get some turrets down. These turrets are sometimes quite helpful. Alright, I'm just switching these over to rocket guys. Alright, so now we've got 4 of these Vistrals with rockets. That makes a difference. Yeah, they're a little worried about that, honestly. Because the outpost not only makes it harder for them to actually capture your checkpoints, but it also gives you a little bit more for your time. A little bit more resources. It's always helpful. Downside is the rocket's not very useful against infantry. That is one of the balancing points there. I think the AI is starting to build the anti-air just because of the halo, because that's well, it's an aircraft. Alright, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Now this one of course doesn't have the moving front line that the other map had, but it is cool that some maps at least have something like that. Alright, we're gonna go recapture some of our points here, and now we can build some more advanced units. So something I didn't talk about as much in the first match was the concept of tech levels. It's something that's present in almost every RTS game, and in the EDU faction, it's fairly straightforward. Oh, come on. We gotta defend our base. So, on the EDU faction, based on the buildings you build, it automatically techs up and you don't have to think about it. In this faction, you have to manually do it, so you have to actually spend time and money to unlock things. So this right here will tack us up to 2 and then 3. Alright, they're attacking my outposts. I feel like I should take the fight to their base at some point. We have lost our barracks. No, I've just noticed that. Alright, let's get some repairs. That would be a good idea.
Rifleman standing by.
Oh, that's a really cool feature. So you can hear their voices, right? But it gets a radio filter if it's off screen. That's not only a cool effect, but it's actually kind of helpful to know if it's something you're looking at that's talking to you, or if it's something somewhere else on the map. I don't know if the hardcore RTS people are going to care. I just think it's cool. Oh no, the halos didn't destroy it. Well, I wasn't doing anything with it. Oops. I know that's something I should be annoyed about, but yeah, it's fine. Alright, APC picks up the troops. Let's just go and attack them with this force. Let's just do that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, let's get our barracks back up. And I'm just gonna drop down a turret where they usually attack from. And we're gonna get a few of these Vistrals and a couple of tanks. At the same time, we can get a helipad. Alright, let's go up here. We're gonna take out... Oh, wow! Okay, the artillery's kinda strong against light vehicles. That is, I guess, kinda predictable. But I still didn't expect it. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back for some repairs. Oh, we got mortars now. Mortars are actually really cool. Alright, so we've got Heinz. And we've got all sorts of upgrades that we can do. Alright, let's load up these troops into it. So the mortar one's really cool, because you get a little mortar sticking out the back. Alright, we've got a decent force here. Let's make use of it. So the Hind, well, needs no explanation. You know what a Hind looks like. It's this thing. And it has a cannon and missiles, but it can also launch a rocket barrage. So we're gonna join up with the rest of our tanks over here. Oh, this is kind of a cool one. That looks like an MTLB, or maybe a BMD or something. It's an armored personnel carrier of some sort, with rockets mounted on the top. Alright, the mortar troops are making use of those mortars. So hitting these guys from afar. They're not that effective against moving targets, if I'm honest. Alright, there we go, some BTRs dropping down. Alright, let's just regroup, and then we'll go again. It's quite a big force we're attacking with. The Eurobombers are an issue. Nothing we can't deal with. I'm also going to drop in this, which is a sort of thermobaric barrage. It kind of, or incendiary barrage, it kind of sets fire to an area. So it stops vehicles from coming out, I think, which will be quite helpful. Alright, let's use that rocket barrage. Ooh, that's very useful. I like it. Oh, the Eurobomber just took out a whole bunch of them that were so clustered together. Alright, we need some reserves in here. Oh, let's just push through, push through. Nobody stops a tank rush, right? Oh, take out the power plants first. Let's get them. How do they still have more? I'm sorry, what? Why did they have so many spares? I don't understand that, but I do understand rocket barrages. Right, I think it's time we got some Air Force of our own. Kind of tired of dealing with all that. Alright, let's go. I want to do as much damage as I can to their base before they magically pop out a bunch of tanks from nowhere. There we go. It really was just that final blow that we needed to do. Sometimes, you know, I'm just a little too careful, I guess. Which seems out of character for this faction, frankly. And finally, let's get a look at the Carpathians. A very, very interesting faction. They can sprint, for one thing, and they have something called the Battle Bull. And I already love this faction. Alright, let's get that barracks up as per usual. We can also build a twin cannon. So we're going to do that. Now these guys can also entrench, but what's really interesting, if you look at the description, they get Eagler man pads, which mean they have anti-air right off the bat. But their upgrading system is weird, so you don't have the Tech 2 upgrades or anything like that that the PMC does. You have something called Increased Workforce or Advanced Tech. So these are per building upgrades. But this is the Battle Bull, which if you've ever played as the GLA in Command & Conquer Generals, this is the battle bus, but it has an expansion capability. So you can put units inside them and they can fire out the sides, which makes it very useful for very sort of aggressive expansion, let's say. Alright, so let's move them out over here. Let's say we want to capture this checkpoint here. Now if they attack us, we should be able to hold them off quite well. In the meantime, of course, I'm going to get a helipad. Alright, let's go and deploy our outpost. And I believe the troops will stay inside there. So that'll be nicely protected there. Ah, the RPGs were hitting our cannon. Oops. Alright, let's get that power plant back up. We're not making slideshows. Alright, so I'm going to get this to capture this point over here, and we're just gonna kind of scout around with our little Battle Bull. We can also use our Fireflies here, which are little scout helicopters. It's very useful. Alright, this helicopter is very interesting because you can see these two masts here. This is an intermeshing rotor, which makes it look like something out of World War II. It's a really cool design. Now, I believe this has weapons, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, we can't capture with air units, I don't think, so that's the only downside. But there is a unit over here. Ah, it can attack air, so that is a little bit of a problem for me. I think we are going to lose it if we keep doing that, so let's not. Alright, let's get some vehicles up. That would be helpful. I'm just going to unload my troops, and we're going to entrench these guys over here. You know what, let's go and pick up these RPG troopers, because apparently this little helicopter can transport them, right? So let's pick them up, and let's go and deal with these guys over here. Oh, they can shoot out of the helicopter? Oh, that changes things. Oh, hello. Hello, hello. Okay, that changes things somewhat. I did not know they could do that. Alright, let's get that high-tech upgrade. And we're gonna get a few of these helicopters. Is there something funny I want to try? And while that's happening, we're gonna get another Battle Bull. Alright, these vehicles are really interesting. They're like pickup trucks, like Technicals, or like half-track, or not, or like, I don't know. It's hard to tell. They tracks or wheels. But those look like Gepard cannons, or like big anti-aircraft turrets, which I guess is what they are. We've got two of our helicopters ready. So I'm going to put the RPGs into them. Still waiting on two more, and now we have our special unit. This right here is a Huntsman, which is a type of sniper that can damage light armor because they've got big caliber sniper rifles. And I'm curious to know if they can shoot out of the helicopter, because having tried these on my own on the ground, they're quite effective against light armor, but from the air that should be quite scary. Alright, let's go and recapture that. I'm gonna send these guys with him, because they've got a really long range, these things. So I've just realized there is an upgrade we can get here, which will make these anti-aircraft guns invisible. Which seems a little bit overpowered given how long of a range they have, but, you know, anything kind of goes. There we go. So these guys are stealth until they shoot now. So that's really cool. Oh, wow. Okay, they've got a lot of anti-air. That is not good for us. So yeah, these things, the BUKs, they're very strong against aircraft. Kind of a problem for us. But that just means we need more firepower. I just realized what our base defense looks like. It's just a rudimentary welded tank turret with some sort of artillery cannon attached to it. Alright, I'm gonna sell that one because it's not really in a very good position. Now, our tank kind of looks like an Abrams almost. At least like an Abrams that you welded together based on photocopies. But it seems to be doing okay against T-90s? Yeah, but I think this might be us done for. Yeah, I'm not sure there's a lot we can do about this. I'm gonna use our artillery anyway. That seemed to take out their infantry, but not much else, unfortunately. I still don't know what's this thing attacking us from the sky right now. But there's clearly something. Come on, take out that tank. Its back is facing to us. Which I've forgotten to mention, there's armor values based on, you know, direction. So, attacking things from the rear is actually kind of advantageous. So they destroyed our command center. I don't think we can replace that. Alright, let's just get a quick repair drop. I wonder, this chemical trooper, if we put that inside the helicopter, what's that gonna be like? Alright, well this is all we've got now, so let's see if we can make use of this. Well, if the chem trooper worked, I didn't see it. I think that's us pretty much done and out of this fight. So, the artillery came in a second too late. The Carpathia faction is definitely the weirder one. It has a lot of that GLA feel from the old Command & Conquer, but it's got so much quirkiness that I think I'm going to have to spend a lot more time learning how to play this. If you want to see more of this game, especially once it's finally out, let me know down in the comments. I'm very excited to see this game finally come out. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and of course subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. My name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.